The keys to accessing your ancestors. Now, you got keys. You have a path within you. Always believe that. Never ever self doubt yourself. Never put yourself in the predicament that you can't do something. Never put yourself in the predicament or put your dick in the sand too fast. 'Cause remember, to bury your mind into a stagnation is to be stagnated and not being able to move. So, of course, if you have the ability to move around and get around, you're supposed to live this up to the best of your fulfillments. Because, of course, you don't really have too much time on your hands. And whatever you're doing with your time is pretty much going to get materialized into whatever you actually deserve to have in front of you. And at the end of the day, you deserve the world because you created the world. So, of course, this is not a predicament of race matters. Your ancestors is not going to pretty much be predicated towards race. They got you believing that your ancestors is a certain race. Your ancestors could have been any being, any person, any place, anything. And of course, you wouldn't know that because you believe that you are these races and nationalities that they gave to you. So remember, you are not these things. And you are the collective, which means you have awarenesses that you can be able to have full sight on. And of course, expand your mind and mentalities on certain areas that you didn't pretty much shine light on. Because, of course, if you don't have your mind will forever be controlled and, of course, contaminated. And when your mind is contaminated, that means it's junky. It has too much stuff in it. You're valuing way too many things. And, of course, the colors that you are valuing are mixing in and mingling. When you have a bunch of chains that's coming together, mixing and mingling, this causes a knot. So that means your mentality is caught in a knot. You can't move around. It's too stuck. It's too hard. And of course, when something becomes too stuck and too hard, it becomes firm, which means you could become stubborn-minded when coming to new experiences and coming up with new ways to change things. If you get too stuck and too consistent into a routine, it starts to become a hell for you because this is the only thing you know. And after a while, you're going to get tired of that shit. If you don't know how to move around and switch things up, then nothing will work in your favor. The world wouldn't even work in your favor if you don't know how to move around, switch things up. But of course, you have the keys inside of you to basically make these things become your surroundings. So your ancestors, 10 times out of 10, you don't even know who your ancestors are. All you know is they were spirits that took bodies here way before you, and of course, they experienced life for what it truly was. Some spirits are still here in certain levels, in certain consciousness, and some spirits actually deprived from this world, and of course, went to certain areas, which means that they was in a predicament as to where they didn't want to come back in certain areas, in certain worlds, because this is a predicament where they wasn't comfortable with being in a control magnet or basically putting themselves in areas where they gotta basically be ran by somebody. 10 times out of 10, nobody want to be controlled. But if you're too codependent or on a person, place, a thing, you're gonna basically always think that this person, place, a thing is always gonna be for you. But not. That's not true. The person, place, a thing that you're basically trying to be codependent on, they have the expiration date as well. As you can see what's going on in the world right now as we speak. So being codependent, relying on someone or something for too long, it gets too goddamn heavy. It starts to basically destroy. And of course, people love power. People love to basically use power for their own way. Some people get greedy with their power. So this is a situation where if you don't know how to accommodate yourself and be an example of what a true star is to be, then of course your ancestors cannot really even basically come to you or help you for that matter. And when we're talking about ancestors, we're talking about spirits that have the possibilities to see another spirit and of course connect with that spirit, which means help that spirit. Because at the end of the day, if you don't even know who you are without being in the flesh, then that's going to put you into a stagnation. You're going to be thinking you're a race or a color. And your color and your race don't mean shit, especially in certain worlds that you haven't been in to see what's the keys or the hidden doors or the doors that you haven't unlocked. Some people don't even dream, which is very bad. You have to dream. Your dreams are important. You have to value your dreams. And if you're not valuing your dreams, then you're in a predicament where you're not going to be able to actually put yourself into other worlds or other spaces. And remember, the space you in has awarenesses. So if you're pretty much in a vibe, you're going to carry that aura with you. And of course, you're going to sustain this aura. And others going to see this aura. And others going to want to basically be around that aura. So this is going to pretty much bring you the life. You're going to be the life of the party. Which means you have life within you. And you're building on it. And of course, you're creating a party. Which means excitement. Wonderfulness. So if you're not excited, and if you're not pretty much happy about things, then this is going to make you a person that's very vulnerable, naked, and open. And when you're too naked, too open, you're opening your portal for other spirits to go inside. Either way, whether you're happy, mad, or up and down, you're still going to be opening portals. But remember, if you too lost into one area for too long and too stuck into that area, what happens is the bricks get heavier, which means shit get too heavy in your spirit. You never want to basically be in a predicament where it has to stay cycling for too long in one area. If it's not free to go places, it's going to feel like it's not here to basically be accommodated. It's going to get very frustrated. And of course, it's going to create scenarios to make you think outside the box and pretty much see things from outside the box, which means you're in a box, but of course, separate from the box and see yourself from outside looking out the box and visualize and see how that person will feel and look constant on a day-to-day terms. That's going to put them into an area where they're going to feel sad, they're going to feel depressed, lonely. Of course, they're going to feel like they ain't the shit because they don't believe they the shit. They believe they just a person that's just supposed to just live life accordingly. And of course, it's cool to experience life. It's cool to basically go through life and of course see it for what it truly is. But if you don't know how to move around and get around, then you're going to be stuck. And of course, once it's up, it's stuck. Remember that. So if you're stuck for too long, you got to look up. You got to look up. You got to look up. Got to go up. Ascend a little bit. Rise above a little bit. And of course, rise above those natures and those experiences and those society detriments that you're in. And of course, if you ain't rising to the top, you're going to get left at the bottom, which means you're going to get sunk in a sunken place. You're going to get washed up under these goddamn waters. You're going to get too deep into areas where you shouldn't be at. And of course, when you get too deep into areas, your light get dim. Things get dark. And of course, when shit get dark, things going to spark. People going to get angry. People going to get mad. Shit is going to basically be frustrating. And you're going to have insecurities where certain areas inside you is not secured, which means you're exposing yourself. And of course, your defense mechanisms of your space and your vessels are not strong enough. It's not tight enough. You haven't been putting in the exercise. You haven't been exercising your power. And if you don't exercise your power, someone else is going to basically take the weights from you and exercise your power with their power. And now, boom, what happens? Your weights is contaminated with somebody else's weights, which means they the ones that wanted you to basically have that perspective. Just like this. You in a car. You see that you have to open it to basically take the lane and go. Your signal on. Yeah, the signal is always on. The signal is always watching. It's like, yeah, I want to get over in that lane. I'm letting people know that I want to get in that lane. But am I in that lane yet? No. So, of course, this is what's going to happen. Someone else going to see your signal, which means other spirits see your light. They're aware of you. And 10 times out of 10, other spirits want to say, you know what, fuck this car, it's too slow, I want to go. Now take that into consideration where you always want to basically do something. but you too slow to do it. Somebody else is gonna take your shine, because this what's gonna happen right here. You are gonna miss out on the opportunity to make the move, while somebody else is gonna take the opportunity past you and leave your ass behind. They're gonna get there first. The first one got the egg, and of course they ate. They the ones that put themselves into a position where first come, first serve. Then when you got there last, what happened? You got there, you seen the person that passed you leaving the building now. Now you walking through the building. Oh, I'm sorry, it's over with. Now your ass fucked up. Why? Because you didn't act on that opportunity. You didn't put yourself in the predicament where, okay, I have the opening, I'm taking it now. You didn't take the opening. You allowed the opening to basically be taken from you. So this is a position where try again. Thank you, try again. So now you gotta basically find another way to where you can basically get yourself back into that area, back into that space. And it's not hard getting there. Question is, how much time and energy and pressure are you willing to basically put in? Because if you ain't ready to put in the time and the energy, if your life ain't shit, and if you feel like your life ain't shit, you have this, and you have all the power and tools within you to change it. Stop thinking that society said you got to do this and strive for this and do these things. Like, you don't have to do shit but be yourself. And if you know who you are and you know yourself, then you know that self-love and self-worth starts within. Charity starts at home. And your home is the way you feel, the way you're comfortable, and of course the way you're safe and secured. And of course, you got to make sure you're doing that homework, that inner work, homework, in order for you to basically express all your work to others, express your work to the teachers. Because remember, the teacher's still learning from you. They learn how you do things, and you learning from the teacher on how they express themselves. So it's a each one teach one situation. You can never be vulnerable. Everybody's learning from each other. Everybody's knowing things about each other. And if you don't know anything about yourself, of course you got some mirror work to do. Look in the mirror, find out what your path, your purpose, and of course how you present yourself in this world. And of course the stars is always right there watching over you. So shine like a star. Be a prime example. Don't turn your light off. Never turn your light off. Make sure your light is powerful. Make sure your light is shining. Make sure your light is driving. Of course, you gotta be hungry for that cake. If you ain't hungry out here in the spiritual world, and of course somebody else gonna eat your cake. Just like Crooklyn, they ate that nigga cake. No homo. His ass didn't want to eat his peas. He didn't want to eat all that extra shit. He didn't want to get stronger. He didn't want to use his shit. Somebody took his shit. Period. Said you can't get no cake and ice cream until you eat those damn peas. And he was forced to do something that he didn't want to do. So if somebody ever forced you to do something you didn't want to do, your true intentions is going to be exposed and it's going to come out. So that's how it plays out. Now, to find your ancestors, you just got to be yourself. If you don't know how to be yourself, then you're going to be carrying too many colors with you. And of course, these colors that you're carrying with you will not match your space. And if your space is not matched with certain colors in certain areas and certain comfortabilities, it's going to be a tug of war, which means that you is going to be at war with yourself, trying to be something that you basically ain't. And of course, if you ain't this person or this place or this thing, and if you feel that you don't have what it takes to be who you are, that means you are externally possessed. And of course, when you're externally possessed, that means everything outside of you basically make you feel vulnerable, naked, and of course exposed. So never put yourself into that predicament. Your ancestors can only work with you and come to you if you're a real spirit or if you're a real powerful ass being. Of course, this takes time. This takes effort. Of course, it takes concentration. So what are you trying to concentrate on to bring into this world and to bring into this spectrum? Because if you ain't concentrating, and if you're actually allowing distractions to dictate you and take you off your path, that means you're going for a ride. Somebody taking you for a ride, and of course, you're getting exposed out here. So, of course, remember, your ancestors cannot find you if you ain't the motherfucking spirit, period. Which means you ain't the motherfucking source, you ain't the power. Who are you? You're a nobody. You're not using your power. So how can somebody come to you or someone or anything come to you if you don't even have your power within you to basically make shit happen? So your ancestors can only come to you again through what you gonna do, not how you gonna get on your knees and pray to them. It don't work like that in this world.